All right, good, hard physical practice today. Tuesdays are work day, and guys did a really good job today mixing it up. Our message to our players is that each week is a new week. You got to start over with your preparation. You got to start over with your practice, and so this is kind of our first week after a game, and so far the guys are doing a good job. Obviously, looking forward to a great challenge this weekend up in South Bend, playing a very talented Notre Dame team. I've played two of Coach Kelly's teams at Notre Dame, and what I know from those experiences is, number one, they're going to be very well coached. They're going to make you earn everything you get. They're not going to beat themselves. Number two, they're going to be very physical. They're going to be a great-looking team, and they're also going to play very physical on both sides of the ball, and that's definitely what we have to prepare for. I think our guys are excited about this challenge, just to kind of see, how we stack up, and this is definitely a one of those opportunities, playing one of the best teams in the country, and a team, favored to have a chance to make the playoffs this year. Offensively, they're led by their senior quarterback, Ian Book, who's had a great career and just one of those leaders, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. And then they have redshirt freshman running back, Kyron Williams, had over 200 all-purpose yards, was a big-time playmaker for them this past game. And then, really their offensive line is very impressive. I think they've got 3 seniors and 1 junior up front, and every one of those guys are over 300 pounds, and they're planning just to kind of come right downhill. And then really impressed with their tight ends. They're able to find some really nice mismatches with their tight ends. Big, long, athletic guys. They get them matched up on linebackers. Have had a lot of success, and very talented at the receiver position as well. Defensively, Clark Lee, their defensive coordinator, does an excellent job. Very sound and very disruptive in the schemes that they run. And then defensively, they have a ton of depth. I believe they played 11 defensive linemen in this last game, and you couldn't tell the difference between the first group and the third group. Just overall defensively, they're big, fast, and violent players for sure. Very long and athletic in the secondary, going to come up and challenge our receivers. So, huge challenge for us this week, but, like we talked about, challenges. With challenges comes growth and comes opportunity. So we're looking forward to this opportunity, and to see how we can, that's kind of the next step for us, going on the road and playing a big-time opponent. It'll tell us a lot about maybe where we are right now early in the year. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Where do you feel you are, Jeff, with your passing game right now going to this game? As far as like going downfield, that kind of thing?
We really did not have a great opportunity last week. Part of that was by design. We had 4 new offensive linemen, so we wanted to be careful in what we were asking them to do. The other part had to be with a wet game, wet ball, all these type of things. And, we just went out first game, wanted to really establish the run. I think we have the potential to be a very strong passing team from what I see in practice. But to me, offensively, it starts with running the football. And being a wet night, first game, just really trying to – there's a lot of guys up there playing that offensive line haven't played next to each other, for 2 days. Really starting Wednesday, some of those guys kind of got in there together. So really it was about, can we eliminate pre-snap penalty? Can we get the snap? Can we get the mesh? About some of those things. We tried to take a couple shots early, and we missed one to OD over there in the corner. That would have been a nice play. And then maybe 2 other times – we thought we had a good look, and we guessed wrong as coaches, and they had deep coverage. And then after that, we just kind of relied on the running game the rest of the way. But I'm excited because I'm pleased with the way that we ran the ball in the first game, and I know the potential that we have in the passing game, and that's kind of part of these first couple games to kind of work through that. But there's no doubt, we've challenged our quarterbacks and wide receivers. You're not going to beat Notre Dame by just handing the ball off. I mean, they're going to be very strong. You're going to have to make competitive plays down the field with accurate throws, good releases, good timing, spacing, all those type of things. you're going to have to be very complete as an offense. So we'll get to see where we are with that this week.
Brian Kelly said yesterday that it's kind of hard to gauge your defense and the schemes of your defense because you just went against the triple option team. Does that kind of give you an advantage coming into this one?
Well, it's probably hard for us to gauge our defense versus a regular offense as well, because all we've played is a triple option. You know, yes, I'm sure there's a little bit of that. Anytime you have new coordinators coming to a new program with a new head coach and all these different things and new players, you know, each coach kind of maybe changes up a little bit within what they do, offense and defensively. And, you know, I think that's kind of part of the first couple games. Usually game 1, game 2, everybody's kind of filling out each other. I mean, there's definitely things that we didn't do on offense Saturday night, you know, that we didn't have to do, that we'll get an opportunity to try to do on Saturday. So everybody, and the same thing for them. They'll do some different things defensively than they showed. And so that's kind of part of the game, especially early in the year. It's kind of filling each other out. Once you get to about game 4 or 5 and everybody's played 3 or 4 games, you got a big sample size, and it's a lot easier to kind of predict exactly the looks that you're going to get.
Coach, did you get a call from Dabo maybe Sunday, maybe for congratulations? And they played the Citadel this week. Did he sneak in a scouting report?
Yeah, he shot me a text and said, "Good start and good luck this week. You're going to need it." That was pretty much the text that I got. But no, I text with those guys a bunch. I did talk to him on the phone a couple days before the game, but I don't think he's going to need much of my help this next week.
Do you believe in the phrase statement game, or is that just overused, and are we not at that point?
Yeah. You know, this is a point in our program where, you know, really our guys are going to be able to go play loose, play confident, play free. You know, I'm looking forward to the day where, you know, we have a chance to play in a game like this where we're expected to win the game. We're not there yet at all. You know, we're going from playing an FCS opponent to playing a potential, you know, national championship team in 7 days. So, you know, I think it's great for us as a team and coaches and players because we get an opportunity to really kind of see where we are. I would imagine everybody we play after this week is going to be somewhere maybe in between these first 2 games. And so, hey, you know, 2020 is a different year. You never know what happens anytime you get out there on the field. But there's no doubt this will be as big a challenge as we've faced in a long time.
Jeff, as someone who grew up around college football, what does it mean to you to go to a place like Notre Dame? Do you think your players have any sense of it? You know?
Yeah. It's a big deal. And, you know, whenever I said this maybe last week, when the Texas game got canceled, you know, our players were really disappointed because they were looking forward to going and playing on a big stage against a really national, you know, power opponent. And when Michael Kelly was able to get it worked out for us to go to Notre Dame and he kind of asked my opinion, I said, absolutely. I mean, this would be a great, you know, great opportunity for our program, for our players, for our coaches. I know me personally, I think it was about 7 years ago that it got announced, a home and home at Clemson, between Clemson and Notre Dame. And South Bend has been one of the few places that I've never been to as a coach, being around it, traveling with teams since I was 8, 9 years old. So I was very excited about that for really the last 6 years. And maybe the day after I took this job, reality hit me that I'm not going to be able to go to South Bend. Now I am going to South Bend. I've just, you know, taken the Bulls instead. So, you know, for me, I'm fired up about it. You know, growing up, my first memory of Notre Dame and of, you know, their stadium and their environment, I think was in maybe 92. I believe it was 92 or 93 when Florida State played Notre Dame in South Bend. And I remember sitting there, and Florida State had a great year going. It was a great game. Notre Dame ended up winning. And then the next week, I believe, Boston College beat Notre Dame on a last-second field goal or something, and Florida State ended up going to the national championship. But I can remember I was about 12 years old sitting in front of the TV, and that was my first experience, you know, watching Notre Dame. So now, many years later, to have the opportunity to go and, you know, coach up in that same stadium is definitely a one that I'm going to cherish.
Jeff, you spoke a little bit about this after the game. Can you just speak to the evolution of Johnny Ford since you've been here? And did you have to have a conversation with him like you had with Trey, dude?
I've had a lot of conversations with Johnny, and this is with a lot of our guys. I mean, it's not a situation where you have one conversation, you're good, and it's on autopilot. It's every day. But Johnny, just like the rest of our players, we kind of laid out, this is the standard. This is the requirement to play for the University of South Florida Bulls. This is what we need. And, I think Johnny probably would admit he'd been a little bit inconsistent in some things off the field and just overall. And ever since I've been here, he's done everything that we've asked him to do. And it was great to see him because, he's an explosive playmaker. He can help our team and our offense really, add a whole nother dynamic. And I think that it's fun. It's rewarding as a coach to see a young man that maybe hadn't quite found his way, and then he buys in and starts having success, and now all of a sudden he's out there leading a little bit. Now we're still very early in the process. We still have, this is going to be one of those years. We're all learning about our players. They're learning about us. This is in no way, shape, or form are we a finished product or anything like that. This is going to be a year where we're growing and learning. But so far, he's done everything we've asked him to do, and that's why he got the opportunities that he got last Saturday, and he did well with those. And he was one of the players of the game. Him and Kelly Joyner were the two offensive player of the games.
Coach, you coached twice against Notre Dame, once in the college football playoffs and the other in a hurricane up in Clemson. What can you get out of that from playing against Coach Jones?
Wow, yeah, it's definitely a different situation for sure. Probably the biggest thing that I can take is what I said earlier, that they're going to be well coached. They're going to be exactly where they need to be. They're not going to give you any free plays. You're going to have to earn everything, and then it's going to be a physical 4-quarter game. They're going to come right downhill right at you, and so my job is to use that experience just to share that knowledge with our players and let them know exactly what it's going to be like when they step out there, so we don't have to wait till middle of the first quarter to kind of figure that out. But that's probably the only two things that I would say that I could bring to our guys from those situations.
This program has for all its twists and turns, has had a habit of pulling off upsets on the road. At Florida State, at Auburn, at West Virginia, for that matter. You don't want your kids' minds to drift to that, but do you embrace the idea of playing these games and for the alumni, boosters, fans to embrace it? Like, this is who we are.
Yeah, I think it's great. You look at our schedule that we have the next 3 years. I think we've got 20. I saw some tweet 25 national championships between the non-conference opponents we have over the next 3 years. Michael Kelly did not share that with me until after the ink had dried on the contract. I reminded him that the other day. But no, I think it's great. I think for us, ultimately our number one goal as a program is to become a championship program and to be able to win, starting off winning a conference championship. And that's really where our focus is. But to have opportunities early in the year to play some of the best programs in the country, it's only going to make you better, because there's going to be, and you never know. You play enough of them, then you're going to have a chance to upset somebody. And my message to our team is, hey, we don't have to play perfect to win this game Saturday, but we're going to have to play very, very well. That's just, I believe in being honest with your players. I'm not a guy that, when we play somebody that's not very good, that comes in and makes them sound like the '84 Bears. I'm honest with them. So they know whenever I tell them, hey, we don't have to be perfect to win, but we're going to have to play very, very well to win Saturday. And we got to play complementary football. We have to improve on some of the things, some of the mistakes that we made this last Saturday. But, I've also never gone into a game where I didn't believe that we could win. And so that's also a mindset, that attitude of belief. You have to believe before you can achieve. And that's a big thing that we're doing as a team, is really kind of changing the mindset to where we do believe every time we step on the field that we do have the opportunity to win a game. Because without that, you have zero chance. But our guys know exactly the type of challenge they have in front of them. I feel very confident about that.
Last week you said Citadel can come in and play loose and confident, nothing to lose, and maybe even ruin some people's seasons. Has the script kind of flipped towards you guys? And is that kind of your mindset going into
there's no pressure on us whatsoever. I know our players and coaches may put a little pressure on themselves because we all want to play well anytime we step on the field. But when you're a 4-touchdown underdog. You know, I mean, the goal of the game is for it to still be a game in the fourth quarter, and then all of that pressure moves to that other sideline. I've been on that other side before. I've been in some of those games, so I know exactly, and that's some things I can share with our guys. I know exactly how that is, but you know, I want our guys to go out and play loose, play confident, play free, because where we are right now as a program, you know, we're playing with house money going into this game, and we can let it loose as coaches and players, and have fun and see where it all lands at the end of the game.
You know, when USF won at Notre Dame, it was such a day of mixed emotions. There was the elation of victory, and there was sadness because that's the weekend we lost Leroy Selman. Since you started here, how much are you aware of what Leroy meant here and what he meant?
Yeah, well, I've been aware of who Leroy Selman was and his legacy, just from, you know, being around college football and also being around Tampa, as I have family that's not too far from here, and my dad had some connections as well in his past. And you know, Michael Kelly, our director of athletics, I believe was an intern for Leroy Selman here when he took over. And so, you know, my first couple months here, I went and had lunch with Frank Morsani, who was kind of on that committee that got together to kind of start the football program, and he shared with me some of the thoughts of Mr. Selman as he was, you know, getting the football started and those type of things. And so even though I wasn't here and did not get an opportunity to meet him, every time we walk into this building, you know, he represents exactly what we want our program and our university to represent. And so there's no doubt. We still have staff members that were a part of that game and have kind of shared some thoughts and their memories. Kind of a very bittersweet moment for sure with everything that happened.
Just being that Saturday was the first game, was there anything that surprised you? Maybe not on the field, but perhaps intangibly?
There really was not a lot of things that surprised me, to be honest. I was pretty optimistic, not optimistic that we were going to win the game, but I was pretty optimistic that our guys were ready to play. I mean, you know, just because where I've been for 12 years, it wasn't like every game we went into we were always prepared and it was always perfect. I mean, you know when your team's ready and you know when they're not. And I mean, I could tell last week, and then especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I mean, these guys were locked in. They were focused, disciplined. I mean, we didn't have one person late all week long. You know, that's the things that you think about as a coach. First time with the team at the hotel, pregame meal, you know, all your meetings, all these things. Do guys show up late? Do they understand, you know, the expectations? And they did a great job. And so, you know, it was my hope that they would go out and have success and play well so that they could truly see that the things that we've been coaching and talking about, kind of playing and preparing to this standard, how it did, you know, measure up. So it was in no way a perfect game. There's a lot of things to coach off of, but overall, to see a group, I mean, all us coaches were all coaching for the first time together. And there's a lot of firsts going on right there on a wet night, no fans, triple option. You know, it was kind of like the ultimate setup. So you really had to be focused and prepared. So more than the score of the game, I was probably more pleased with overall from the beginning to the end how our guys played together. And you know, outside of a couple situations, I felt like our guys were prepared and locked in. And that's a good sign. And like I told the guys on Monday, you know, that was one game. Now the trick is you got to do it the next week and the next week and the next week. And that's how you get the consistency that we just haven't had by and large as a program.
Y'all have had extreme, really good balance in the running game. You know, I think there were 7 backs with 11 rushing yards. Is that kind of the plan going forward, just spreading the carries, keeping everybody fresh?
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of, again, I feel good about our playmakers. We got a lot of skill guys, and obviously, like we talked about, you know, everybody got an opportunity to see kind of the running backs and maybe the wide receivers on a few of the little quick sweep stuff. But we do have a number of guys. I said yesterday on the radio show, Darien Felix is a guy that's done very well in practice. He had a tight hamstring. We tried to let him go a couple plays, but didn't want to push it. And but he's another guy that'll get into that mix, I think, and will really be able to help us.
Does it make you smile or sort of amuse you when people say, yeah, Notre Dame, that's a big game, but that leads into the big game, the USF head coaches reunion at FAU. I mean, is that like?
Oh.
How are you
Yeah, really, I'm so busy, literally just making sure we got enough guys out there on Tuesday to practice and have scout teams and line up. I mean, that's literally. I mean, I don't even. I think that's the good part about being a coach is you have so much to do that your mind does not have a chance to wander into that stuff. And sometimes maybe in the months before the games, you think about looking at the schedule and some of the matchups and some of the unique opportunities. But I mean, by staying busy doing what we're doing, it doesn't allow for a whole lot of outside concerns or thinking about the different matchups or different opportunities maybe for some of these matchups.
If I may be wrong, but it appeared like you didn't rotate a lot of guys on the defensive front last week. Do you have the potential to increase that rotation this week?
Yeah, we did. We had, I don't have the exact numbers down. We rotated a little bit. I think because of what they did up front with that triple option, we kind of had our guys we felt really good about for that game and that setup. Certain guys may be a little bit better for different styles. But, first defensively, just historically, week by week, you're able to play a lot more guys on offense than defense. I mean, defense is a tough position to rotate. That's why it's really impressive that Notre Dame played 11 D linemen last week in a really good game. But I do feel like we have a lot of unknowns probably in our 2 deep and 3 deep on the defensive side of the ball. But I think Glenn really wanted that first group to play a lot of ball together because it was kind of the first game, and especially what they were doing. I mean, all you had to have is one guy go the wrong way and it's a touchdown the other way. So I do feel that we'll get an opportunity to play more guys, really both sides of the ball as we move forward.
Yeah, it's always an enormous task to take a team on the road organizationally, but now you're doing it in a different atmosphere with the pandemic. What will this road trip be like? What are the different places that are
Sure.
having experience?
Yeah, and this is the first of 3 in a row. We get 3 in a row right off the bat, so we get to learn a lot about it. There are a lot of differences. I mean, I'm charting right now who's sitting where on the buses on the way to the airport. I'm charting right now. I mean, it's one of my decisions with the doctors of who's sitting where on the plane to make sure that, normally you just kind of throw all the players on the plane and coaches in the front, players in the back, and now there'll be, nobody sitting in the middle aisle. You'll have, coaches on the aisles and players on the windows so that you don't have a chance for players to, be too close to other players. If somebody got sick on Saturday morning and then they go back and have to look at where everybody was sitting on the plane. So there's a lot of things to that, who their roommates are on the road, what that looks like. And, we got a little taste of it, obviously, just traveling to St. Pete last week. But this will be a whole nother deal. The expectations, getting on the plane, getting off the plane, how we travel, how we do what we do. This will be the next level of that. But, based off what I saw last week from our guys and their focus, my expectation for them is to do exactly what we're asking them to do. They haven't showed me anything to counter that at this point.
Has your offensive coordinator regaled you guys with any memories or stories of whenever his dad was the head coach?
No, he hasn't. I mean, again, maybe whenever the rumor was coming out, the little chirps were coming out that we were going to play, I went and told him about it because I thought it was pretty cool, and he was excited about that. But really, since then, I don't even know if our players know, to be honest. I probably need to tell them just so they're aware of that. But a lot of them probably don't even know that his dad, was the head coach there at Notre Dame at one time. But yeah, I know that's neat for Charlie. Very similar to the opportunity I had whenever I was at Clemson to go back and coach at Florida State, against Florida State. After growing up on those sidelines as a little kid, that was a great experience.
Coach, when you go into a game like this and you're the underdog on the road and everything, is the object to get to halftime either with the lead or within a score?
I mean, that's always the object is to play well, right? I mean, we're not putting, let's see if I can say this the right way. Because it's game 2 of this new era, new coaching staff, new time, we're really just coaching our guys on how we practice on Tuesday and how we do what we do. And, our messaging to our players has always been and will always be that, hey, it's about us. It's not, y'all get tired of hearing this, not about who we play, it's about how we play. Well, if all of a sudden you go play a really big team like Notre Dame, and all of a sudden you start talking about Notre Dame, then they raise their hand and say, Coach, I thought you said it's not about who we play, right? So you have to be consistent in that. So, you know, for us, it's so early. Like I'm more interested in seeing how our players respond against a very talented opponent on the road than I am about worried about the scoreboard and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we want to win the game. Right? That's what we're going up there to do. But there's so many things right now for us that we're kind of focusing on more than, you know, worried about, you know, what the score is by a quarter, by halftime or whatever. You know, by and large, you worry about what you're doing in front of you, and then you look up at the scoreboard at the end of the game, and you'll be able to learn how you did. And that's kind of the mindset our guys will have going into this one.
On that note, will you take some time before the game sometime to kind of walk the field there in South Bend and, you know, kind of get that in your system so they're
Yeah. Well, we're hoping. We haven't got that finalized yet. We're hoping we're making an opportunity to walk over there on Friday, but we don't know for sure yet. But that would be an ideal scenario.